that right there, Paula, is why you're such an amazing energy and soul, because it's like you will always do it's not like you're not just doing it, you're thinking about it, but you're also weighing the option on what's most important to me now. It's like, and that's that thing that I appreciate about you, because you take those chances and not many people do that. But at the same time, you still come out like Paula, you still go home, you still figure it out, because
Shit happens. Shit happens to you and me. It doesn't matter if you're a wizard, a king, or a queen. Even if you are magic, you gotta agree. It's worth it to talk shit out, no matter how messy.
Welcome to Shit Happens, where shit always happens and no shit is too insignificant to discuss. From trivial inconveniences to life's profound challenges and everything in between, this show explores every aspect of the unpredictable nature of existence with your favorite shit talker and host, P.
Yeah, it's P.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, Paula, how are ya?
I'm good. You're looking fresh and shit. Okay.
I'm doing my best. So how are you?
I am good. It was a great weekend, and I'm glad me and you have finally been able to sort this time issue, because
I know we've been having some 3-hour separation and stuff, and I'm not used to that. So everything I'm used to doing is always right in my backyard, more than anything else. And live. This is so podcasting on Zoom and all this StreamYard is kind of still foreign to me, but I'm here. I made it.
I know. Welcome to live. Welcome to Shit Happens. Now, Chris, I love you so much. So one of my biggest heartbreak of this year was not being able to see you at Podfest. That really broke my heart. Who was gonna carry me? Riley offered, and we almost did it, but it's a Chris thing, right? It's a Chris thing.
I know, Paula. I know that my presence was missed at Podfest, and I actually, I really struggled with deciding if I was going this year, first and foremost. I feel like that, the growth of the podcast and just where I'm at right now with everything. It's one of those things where I felt like I just didn't have a need this year to go. I felt like a part of me has outgrown Podfest a little bit now, and I want to kind of move on to some of the other ones to see what those are about. But then after not going, I realized it's what? It's just, I love the community of Podfest, that's one of the most amazing experiences I had, because it was my first introduction into the podcast conferences, as if you would say, and I really enjoyed the people that I and you being one of them, and so many others that have this fantastic energy, and they just really do well in the podcasting space. And so that's what I did miss, but I'm ready to kind of spread my wings into other avenues like podcast movement, see what that's about, and heading out to go to a new conference that one of our mutual friends is doing this summer coming up as well. So I'm excited about that.
And that's so true. We do outgrow certain things, and there's nothing bad about that, right? It's part of the journey. It's part of life. And it's actually funny because I just came from Pod Labs, and we were talking about what are one of the reasons that make you go to certain conferences and everything. Mm-hmm. And we depending again on every year, depending on the level of knowledge you feel like you are at, or the level of where you are on your journey, there are certain conferences will be like, yeah, this don't feel right for me with where I am for this year, and that's fine. So are you going to the Podfest movement in LA or the one in DC? Of course you're gonna go to the LA one because that's home, right?
I am not doing that one. I'm skipping that one because I kind of want to go to the big one, and I know the one that's coming here is not as big as the other one, so I kind of want to just surpass that one and just wait and just kind of go to the one in DC. So I'm kind of hold out for the one here, and I've looked at it, and I was just like, what? I read everything that was going on, and I felt like I think if I'm going to do it, I want to do the big one. So I'll wait for the DC one in August.
And that's so true. The big one is where everything is at. Their mini one is their version of us with the Podfest Global. We do it virtually. They still have the energy to
do it
in person. So
Paula,
I'm
I go big.
excited
I
for
go
him.
big. I don't do all the. I go bigger. You know, it's
I
like saying I
mean,
go big or go
duh.
home, right?
I mean,
So
duh.
that's my motto. It's like, you know,
Duh. I shouldn't expect anything less,
yeah,
right?
right.
I shouldn't at all. So, for those who don't know Chris, right? Chris is a dating coach, former runway model, which I still don't believe why it's former, because like, boy, you still can rock that. You still rock that runway, anyways.
Ah, thanks, honey. I
And
appreciate that.
relationship coach and tennis pro. You do amazing stuff. And there was a post that you made. Yeah, I believe it was either end of January or beginning February, and it was about how much do you value yourself? And me and you last year we had a lot of conversations towards the end of last year where we were in positions where we were really looking into our values and the people around us and what that means to us and how do we, sometimes you do know your value, but it's
Yeah.
so hard in the moments of life and what happens, right, to lose your value or to even forget add tax on your fucking value. So I wanted us to dive into that. How much do you value yourself? And how do you get to a position to value yourself? How to know your worth and add that tax and stand on that?
Right. Well, I mean, first and foremost, it's like you have to almost like say that it's almost like reinventing yourself all the time, right? It's one of those things where you have to check in with yourself. And like, just even like for me, like last fall, I had a few things that I was going through that I literally felt like I lost myself. You know, I didn't know who I really was. And I had to really take a step back and just kind of take a moment and just realize that I need to really go a deep dive inside of my own self and figure out how to come out the best possible, Chris, that I can be. And it took me a few months and, and I did the work. I journaled. I actually had, gotten a therapist as well for the first time in a long time. And I had to kind of reset what I wanted for myself in order to move forward to who I am right now. And so I feel like a lot of people, in order to find your true authentic self and your value, you have to really continuously check in with yourself. You have to continuously do the work, and sometimes what I mean by doing the work is that you have to really take time out for yourself. You have to do self-care, self-love, things like that. And I realized that I was doing for everyone else but myself. And even though I'm the same Christopher, I'm still the great, amazing guy that Paula, but it's that thing where I was just kind of, it was almost like a facade at all of a sudden, right? It's like, it was all surface. Like, it was like, where's the real Chris? It's underneath there somewhere. And now that I have all that done, I've done all the work. It's that thing where it's like, now you're getting both sides of like me. You're getting the person that loves myself, and you're also getting the person that Paula, as well. And so what I've learned from this is that I come first, and that's the first thing that I think a lot of people need to realize is that, there's a lot of us that do for so many other people, and that we forget, we put ourselves last, It's not that it's like it's a bad thing, but it's like, you have to bring yourself to the surface first. So reinvent yourself, continuously check in with yourself, and continue to value who you are as a person before anyone else can value you as a person.
And that's so true. Some things you've mentioned that I want to touch on. First, I had a guest on Monday. Shout out to Loyalty. And she was talking. She was like, I don't believe in my cup being full and pouring into other people. I want my cup to overflow. That way, when I'm pouring into other people, my cup is also still full. Because
right.
if it's full and I'm pouring into other people, that means mine is getting emptied and I'm giving it out. And it's funny because I never thought about it that way. I'm always like, your cup needs to be full first. But yeah, you want it to overflow, because in reality, as much as we think, when people are like, what do you mean you lost yourself? What do you mean you're the same person, you look the same? But losing yourself is kind of an internal thing. Like, yes, I still look the same outside and everything, but inside, because you're wearing so many hats, right? You are a mother, you're a father, you're a boyfriend or a husband, you're a sister, a brother, a sister, a best friend. Then you come into your business world, right? You are a coach, you are a podcaster, so sometimes it's so hard, like you're all these things that you forget who the fuck you really are, even though people around you know who you are, right?
And that's
right. Then also sometimes you get too comfortable in all these titles or one title that you still forget who you are and how much more you have to offer because you've been too comfortable in this space, right?
That's right.
So
yeah.
it's
And off of that, Paula, like you said, it is very constant. It's this constant cycle of just like, and that's why, once again, you have to check in with yourself, because what you just said is everything that I was doing. But at the same time, I lost myself. I lost myself in certain things. Like, I was maybe just a little more stressed out, a little more anxious, maybe a little bit more, whatever it may be, because I was pushing for so many different and pushed and pulled in so many different areas. But now it's like, all I do is live in the present now. It's nothing has changed, but I'm more present and I'm less anxious. I have no stress in my life and I just love myself more, and for me to be that way, I feel like I'm re-energized and I have a lot more to give now again. So my cup is now getting to that point of where it is full and everything else around me is like, yeah, it can wait, or I'll get to that. Or it's like, it's still important, but I'm not putting so much emphasis on it anymore, because once again, it's like, if I'm not healthy and strong and doing the best version of who I can be, all that other stuff is just kind of like, it's secondary.
See, right there you say you're so right, but also it's funny how I caught this because I probably wouldn't have if I hadn't had this conversation. But you say my cup is full, but I'm still like, and to some things, it's because we need it to overflow so that you can actually be like, yeah, to
That's
some
right.
of the other shit, right? And it's also just like me, like last year, right? When you lose your job, right, and then you're also on top of that homeless, and people say not to say homeless because I had a place to stay, but when it's not your place, right? A friend offered me their place where I figured my shit out, so I was kind of still homeless in my head, right? Because you're coming to a place where you're constantly used to having your place, having your money, having a job. And then now you're looking at this podcasting as well, which you're building, but you also reach the place like, okay, I just keep on having these interviews and interviews and interview. Like, where is it really going? Because you're losing. Because one of the biggest worries you have as a podcaster is, do I have enough content? Do I have enough guests?
Right.
Do I have? And now you have all these guests, but what are you really doing with your podcast? Like, what's the plan? Like, so you end up losing yourself in there as well. Like, okay, what the fuck is going on? Like, how do I get myself out of this funk? And what you said is right. Like, checking in is very important because sometimes you get in that really funk where you don't even know how to get yourself out of. Like, you have even forgotten who you really are because now you're like in this dark cloud. Like, I don't know. I knew I like that, but because now I'm in this dark cloud, I don't know if I really liked it or because I liked it because at that time it was doing what it needed to do for me, right?
That's right. It's almost like saying, like, getting up every morning and just like you said, getting up, doing the same cycle every morning. I got to brush my teeth, got to wash my hair, got to take a shower, got to get ready for work. And then next thing you know, you're like, where'd the day go? Right? It's the same thing. And so but although you've done a lot of stuff and you've accomplished stuff, but are you really taking time out to enjoy what you've done? Are you really taking time out to calibrate what you need to do in order to move forward? And quite frankly, like you just said, doing all these things like the interviews and all these things for your podcast, is it really truly moving the needle any? Is it, you know what I mean? In your life, is it fulfilling your life? Is it fulfilling your podcast? Is it doing all these things that you really truly want for you? And so it's a very difficult space to be in. And a lot of people are, trust me, a lot of people are in this space and they don't even know it. It's like they're just kind of just going through the motions half the time. And then all of a sudden, it's almost like you're getting slapped in the face or thrown cold water and you're like, wake up, where are you at right now? It's like, take a minute, when people, and then you're like, I don't need to take a minute. I'm fine. You know what I mean? Because we all do that, right? I'm like, I'm fine. I'm good. I don't need a minute. And you realize it's like, when you do take that minute, you're like, holy shit, I really needed to take a minute. Like I've learned so much more about myself where I wanted to be. And all the things that I've learned about myself were already there. But I never knew that because I was too busy searching and trying to push and pull and grow and make these things happen where it's like, where's your success? Where's your happiness? And those are the things that I lost along the way, because I had no idea what success meant to me. I felt like I was happy, but it's that thing where it's like, I'm not happy till I reach this point. And you're missing out all the things that are going on now, in the present. And that's why I finally was like, damn, like, it's like, I am successful. I am happy. It's like, but I was so busy, trying to reach for the top of a mountain that's endless, It's like everybody's got their own mountaintop, right? It's like, there's Mount Everest, or it could be like, the fucking hill around your corner that you call a mountain. So it doesn't really matter. It depends on what makes you happy though, right?
And that's so true that you mentioned that, because and I had this conversation this morning on Shit Happens with Amanda, and we were talking about that's why it's so important to celebrate those wins, however small they are, because half of the time we're concentrated at that, like a staircase, right? You're concentrated on what's at the very top instead of actually looking at these little steps you're making. I was going to take you at the top. So you're making the wave. You're just not getting as fast as you think in your head you're supposed to be, because who says that's where you're supposed to be at a certain age? Right. And that's why I've always learned, and this is my motto this year. It became like, you know what? I'm not gonna fucking stress. I am broke and I have survived. God has made a way. All I have to do is keep working on the shit I wanna work on.
That's right.
And praying and trusting God is going to lead me, because half of the time you make these plans and God is laughing at you like, you think that's what it's going to be? You think that's what it's going to be? Okay, you keep making those plans, but that's not. There's a big roadblock coming, but you're not prepared for that because you're busy making these plans, thinking that's how life is supposed to go. So I tell people these days that even if I have the last $200 in my pocket and somebody says, yo, let's go do this thing, and it's something I really want, and it's gonna take the entire 200. I'm going to fucking do it. Because tomorrow is not prepared. I'm gonna be living it right now. My friend called me and was like, I want you to come to this place because it's gonna be my birthday, and this is also happening. I need you here. I'm buying you the ticket. I was like, straight up, I'm very broke. I don't have any money. So if you're buying me the ticket, just know you're also going to have to feed me and everything. I'm telling you in advance so that I don't become a problem while I'm there. And she's like, that's no problem. Come in, come. And I'm traveling for the first time with a one-way ticket. I never fly anywhere with a one-way ticket or without a plan. But I'm like, you know what? I'm sitting in my house and shit is still not.
Right. So
who knows what's ahead of there? Who knows what I can get by going there? And what do I have to lose? Like,
Right, but that's you knowing your value. That's you knowing what you're worth, and it's like, and that's you being your true authentic self. Those are the things those three components right there: knowing your value, knowing your worth, and knowing your true authentic self. That right there, Paul, is why you're such an amazing energy and soul, because it's like you will always do it's not like you're not just doing it, you're thinking about it, but you're also weighing the option on what's most important to me now. It's like, and that's that thing that I appreciate about you, because you take those chances and not many people do that. But at the same time, you still come out like Paula, you still go home, you still figure it out, because that stuff will always be there. Figuring out's always going to be there, but just enjoy the moment when you can, and that's something that is missing with a lot of people. And that's something that I'm actually learning now, is just really enjoy the moment where you're at right now, and everything else is always putting into place. It's always the puzzle pieces are always going to come into place, but it's like, but if you worry about the little things, you're not really enjoying life. So
you're not really, whatever you believe in, whether it's God, whether it's a higher spirit, higher power, whatever, you're not giving them the trust that they need, because how are they supposed to help you if you're saying, yes, I really believe they got me, I trust that God got me, but I'm here worrying. God is also looking at, if you're going to worry, why should I help you? Continue worrying since you want to worry so much, right? But to me, about taking this opportunity was also like, I'm constantly home, right? Because I don't have a job. I'm building my business, and I'm doing my podcast, but I do it from home.
And you're doing a fantastic job, by the way. Fantastic.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I don't have anything that's holding me back, saying that you can't go on this trip, because I don't have to work. Everything I'm doing, I just need to make sure I have my laptop and my phone with me, and I can work from anywhere. And also, sometimes I wouldn't have gone, because I'm going, and I'm going to be around two amazing women in my life, right? Who I also met through Podfest. And I've been using OWL excessively, and I've been getting little opportunities in where I'm going, because for some reason, I've been connecting with people who are already in that area, and they're like, oh, you're coming. Let's do this. Let's collab on this. Let's work on this. And also the women I'm going to be with, we are going to sit and I'm going to talk to them about what I'm dealing with. And they're going to see how they can help me. They're going to direct me, give me ideas, see how they can. And Maybe I might come back with a job. Maybe I might come back with a financial plan. Maybe I might come, compared to if I was sitting in here by myself, doing all the things where I'm constantly also depressing myself, because I look at myself and I'm like, sometimes I feel like I'm not doing too much, because you're jobless. You should be constantly doing something, right? Or maybe I'm not. And then in my head, I get in my head and I feel bad about myself and I feel bad about my life. And then I'll be around people. It's so easy to get in your head.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like you just said something. It's like, like I feel like I need to always be doing something, but it's like you're spinning your wheels. And it's just like, is that doing something? Just, are you working smart? Are you working hard? It's like, you got to work smart, and that's something that you said. And by the way, you said something a minute ago where I appreciate it. It's like learning how to communicate what you need in order to find opportunities that just come out of nowhere. And so you put yourself in positions to where, in social settings, wherever it may be. This is actually a podcast I'm actually doing. I actually wrote this, an email to someone that's going to be on a podcast. And these are some of the topics where I was just like, learning how to use your strengths in social settings, use your strengths to find your community, and that's something that you do very, very well. Because the more that you put yourself out there and your energy out there, the more that you're going to receive something back, because it's just like, it's just something that it's what we should all do, right? If you're going to sit at home or not put yourself in any situation of that, could be somebody, like you said, sitting right next to you might be the answer, right? Or somebody right next to you might give you something that you needed for you, or vice versa. It doesn't really matter, but just putting yourself out there is just, that's taking a chance. And I love that all day long.
Also going to knowing your value, right? Because I know what what value I have. I know what I bring to the table. So sometimes you just need to push it on people for them to see it, to be able to. And I tell people, like, if you're not speaking up, if I'm not telling people I'm jobless and I'm job hunting, no job is just gonna fall on my laps, like, some people are lucky like that, because but I feel like everybody still has to speak, like, I'm looking for a certain opportunity, or I'm looking to change into a different direction or anything. I sat with Chris and the boys on Friday night, and I could have easily just talked about every other thing about, and not tell them about me looking. But I straight up told them, like, yo, I'm jobless. I'm looking for a job. And they asked me, so what type of job are you looking? Where are you looking? I'm like, I want to transition into the podcasting world. I want to learn more into the podcasting world. Like, my background is in events. I will take an event job, but anything in podcasting, and I'm willing to learn from that bottom, because I self-taught myself. So if I get paid in a world where I'm also learning to do the thing that I love, why the fuck not, right? Because I know most people are always scared of starting from the bottom, because, I used to be this in my profession. Okay, that was on a different life. This is a new world. It's a new world. There's a lot to learn, and I'm willing to learn. And they're like, okay, we'll see what we can do. We'll spread the word. But the more you tell people, and if they are around people, and people are saying, oh my God, I'm looking for an intern or a training for this or this, it will come to them. Oh shit, we remember Paula is looking for a job. We know Paula, and she has so much value she can bring, because you went and saw it yourself, and they help you. So I'm always gonna say, yo, I'm broke, I'm jobless, but is that where I want to be? Fuck no, I want a big ass life. I have big dreams, and sometimes I think we are shameful of being there, because of course, like, how are you 34? You're jobless, no savings, bro. Most of us are scared to talk because of those judgments, right? But that's life. We had COVID. We had COVID in 4 years ago, which changed everybody's life. Yes, everybody who had a saving kind of went through their saving in 2020. People are still rebuilding what they've been losing in these last 4 years. So life is changing. Everybody's complaining about financially, about everything. Even the people who I used to look up to financially, like, oh my God, they're rich, they got money, they're doing this. Right now they're like, yo, we legitimate trying to squeeze every penny to, So it's life. Shit happens.
It does happen. But you know what you're doing, Paula, which I appreciate, is that you're doing something about it. That's like, you're not sitting there feeling sorry for yourself. You're taking action. You're taking action. You're doing the work. You're taking action. You're doing stuff, like, for one, you want to do your podcast and stuff. look where you are right now. You know, I mean, you're doing a live stream right now, right? I mean, not that's.
I used to not even want to do videos.
Well, and that's the thing, though. But that's thinking outside the box, though. You're thinking outside the box, and even though, like you said, you didn't want to because you're probably afraid of it, and that's something that people do. If we're fearful, we don't want to try anything new because you're too afraid to try something. You're taking the leaps of faith, and you're doing it. So this is something that you're doing, and it's like just taking a deep breath first and foremost. Like, just breathe. Just freaking jump off the cliff, take that leap of faith and just do it. What's the worst that can happen, right? Yeah, you fail, but so what? I'd rather fail and try something and go, well, at least I marked that one off the box than not do it at all. Like, I'm one of those people where I've never said like, I've never not done anything that I did not want to do. Like everything that I've done in my life has been like, I've done it because I've taken chances at it. So, or at least it's on a piece of paper right now saying I'm going to do that.
Even if you fail, because to me, in my head is like, where you already are without trying is you failing. You're failing on yourself. You failing on your life because you don't think you can actually.
But I don't think trying something, and I'll backtrack on that. I don't really think trying something is failing. Actually, I just think it's
actually learning something because every failure is a lesson. You either learn that you really don't want to do that shit, or how hard it is, or you learn different techniques of doing it, or you find, okay, listen, I actually wanted to do this, but because it failed, it has shown me that I can actually switch it into this direction. And that's why when, even in dating, right, I remember I'm a sucker for love. I love love. And when I date, like everybody's going to know if there's a guy in my life who's making me happy, entire world will know, social media will know. I'm the person who I don't care. Like if I want to show him out, I'm going to show him out.
She's like, I'll shout him out.
Exactly. Like these days, I'm realizing there's being private without being what's the word? Like not hiding, but you're private. Like there's a certain way of showing. But back in the days, because I was always this loud kid, like my entire life, I always say everything. So people always used to tell me like,
"Oh, talk shit with Paula." Never said shit. What? I'm sorry. What was that?
This is why they got me up at Podfest. They're like, shut the fuck up for a few minutes there.
It's like, let's see if we can catch her at her best. Silence. We got her.
So when I used to date, you remember back in the days where people would be like, oh, you shouldn't show who you're dating because you're going to get an L, right? If it doesn't work out, right?
Yeah.
By my head, I'm like, if you're already thinking it when it doesn't work out or if it doesn't work out, then why are you even in that relationship? Because to me, every relationship is not meant to be forever, depending on the time you are in. Like, yes, right now, I'm kind of shopping for my forever because I feel like I'm in that space where I want my forever. But back in the time, I wasn't dating for forever. I was just dating to
you're like, I'm looking for now. I want now.
You're in my life. We're gonna have fun. If it gets to the end line, that's fine. If it doesn't, that's fine. But to me, it was like, and even when we break up, I would constantly go up on my social media and be like, okay, we are done with that relationship. It's over. And people are like, don't you feel like all these L's you're getting? I'm like, but it's not an L. Every relationship has taught me what I want, what I don't want, how to better myself, what I am doing wrong in the relationship, because it's not always about that person. Even though I'm the one who always walks away, but I also learned that I wasn't also a good girlfriend as much as I thought I was, right?
Yeah, right. It's something that I tell a lot of people, Paula, in this space where I say, look, I go, you have to go through your trials and errors in order to like know what you want and what you don't want, and so it's like my job as a dating coach is to tell people and to help people figure that out, and especially when you feel like you've kind of been doing the same thing over and over again, where it's like, God, it's like the same person. I don't know why this happens. It's like, look, you got to go through those experiences regardless. But at the same time, you really need to start thinking about what you truly want. And now I love the fact that you're looking for your forever now, because that's something that you've been through enough ups and downs with different relationships to go, okay, this is exactly what I'm looking for, with a little bit, because it's always going to ebb and flow and change, right? Even though you might find your forever, that still takes a lot of work to keep it going, as we all know. But it's being able to just get in there and just allow yourself, like you said, don't worry about it. Like you said, whoever's going to a relationship thing, it's going to fail first and foremost. It's already failed. You know what I mean? It's like, why are you even in this? Then it's like, it's like negative Nelly. It's like, okay, I'm in this, but I don't know if it's going to last very long. It's like, well, then you're really not ready to be in a relationship then, you know, because you're
looking
yourself.
for ways for it not to work. And I said, like, right now I'm in that place in my life where relationships do take a lot of work, and if I'm going to invest on one, I want it to be one where we are both investing for something greater than just right now, right? But I've already had my right nows, I've enjoyed my right nows, and I've been alone. I've been single since 2020. Like, I've gone on dates, I have special friends, but like to be in a relationship,
special friends. This is what I want to hear about. I like this special friends.
You can't just park a car for a full year without, turning it on and off every now and then to make sure it's working. Right?
You got to recharge. Every battery needs a recharge, Paula.
Exactly. No cobwebs over here.
Nope. Spring cleaning, girl. Spring cleaning all day long. I'm a big fan of that.
Exactly. And I'm even very picky with my special friends. You have to also my mind, you have to escape my mind, you have to get into my heart in order to do all that. But in my head, I'm like, okay, the people I've picked to be my special friends are people who are as much busy as me. So that's why we can't even have a relationship, why I can't even fall for them or anything. Yeah. Like, we can go 3 months without seeing and spoken like once or twice. So,
but that's a mutual thing that you guys have set up, though. Which
and that works.
To do that.
Yeah, and that works because for where I was like, I don't want a relationship. And I know myself, I get attached. So if I'm talking to you every day, even though I'm saying I don't want a relationship, of course I'm going to get attached to you. If I'm spending every weekend with you or anything, of course I'm going to get attached to you, right? So why put myself in there? But now because I know I've done all this work, and if I'm going to put the energy on somebody, I want it to be something greater than. Funny enough, on Monday I was on a comedy call, right? Because I'm taking a route into the comedy world because I'm funny. I'm funny.
You are shit funny, girl. Let me tell you, you got me laughing all the time.
And Kimmy was on the call, right? You know, Kimmy. So she was talking. Yeah. I love her. Oh my god. I listen to like my real life Barbie dolls. Like, they're just Barbie dolls. Like, but Barbie dolls with there are Barbie dolls who are just Barbie dolls, and they're Barbie dolls with personality. They're Barbie dolls with personality and a hell of personality and amazing shit they do. So I love them. So Kim was talking about I'm a relationship guru, dating coach, but when people come to me, they want a man, but what they end up finding is they end up finding themselves. So I was like, Kimmy, I've already fucking found myself. I need you to find me a man. Like, I'm done finding myself. I'm ready for a man.
You're like, let's just skip over that shit. Let's just get right to a man. Just find me a man. Let's skip all the semantics. I don't need any of that stuff. I already got that. It's like it's like when you go somewhere, they go, "Do you want the full package?" Or it's like, "No, I already have that part. Just give me the instant part."
But that's the thing, because I've done the work, right? And even last year when I was kind of going through the hall and you were dealing with stuff when we were having those conversations, we were also kind of inspiring each other, and we kind of were going through the same thing, but also kind of different. Yeah. And I was thinking, like, you know what? Because I have been dealing on and off with my ex, who eventually I was like, yo, he's not seeing my worth because I keep taking his bullshit every time. How is he going to see my value? And I'm here saying, that's my value and add tax, but he's looking like, bitch, please. As soon as I call you, you're going to answer.
Right.
As soon as
But see, Paula, but you saying that right there, and let's use that as something as well. So you saying that is why people need to kind of check in with themselves, all the time, because it's almost like saying, okay, like once again, like a spring clean, like checking in with yourself. Let's clean this area up. Where am I at right now? Is everything in my life good right now? If it's not, let's reassess and figure why it's not good. You, like in that situation with the guys, because it does happen relationships all the time. It's like the other guy, Mr. Narcissist knows that you're going to call him back. You're in the end's like, why the fuck am I calling him back? I'm rid of this guy. But it's like this thing where it's like, even though you're strong, you know yourself, but we all have little, we have weaknesses, right? This person is a weakness for you. So you got to like check that out and say, how do I make that part? How do I make this weakness stronger? How do I make this better? And those are things on why we have to continuously check in with ourselves all the time, because we do get lost in these situations because we get caught up in it.
We do. Mm-hmm. So I want to ask, right? I'm I know I stand proudly on who I am. Like anybody can say, if there's somebody like Paula will tell you proudly who the fuck she is. Like I have no problem with that. But we have a lot of people who, and even this comes to some of my friends, I see it, right? And I'm like, damn, if you could only see what I see, like what you're capable of, like who the fuck you are, and you that, you know. So how does one get to stand proudly on who they are? Like, how would you advise somebody in going through that?
You just, once again, you just like, and we all see people like that, right? You see people when they say, and you just want to help them, but you know that the best thing they can do is just help themselves. And I feel like a lot of people are afraid to really take a deep dive on what's really going on, because they're afraid that they're not good enough, or they're afraid that, you know, they're going to have imposter syndrome, and even though that they know this underneath, it's almost like there's this wall or this door with a lock that's like, I'm not going there, because if I go there and I figure out who I really am, then I'm not really going to like what I see, you know. But that's the stuff that people need to dig into. You know, there's this thing that I was actually telling Kimmy, actually, we had drinks the other night, actually, and I was telling her, I said, look, I have learned how to balance this. So I have this side of me where like my light side, this is my light side, right? The side that you always see, but there's also this dark side to me where it's like, I always said that, you know what, man, it's like, you know, I can get whatever I want if I really, really wanted to in life, but I always hold that at bay because I was really scared of that side. It's like my narcissist ego, kind of like, where it's like, you know, that's not the Chris I want to portray.
I mean, can you blame yourself for having that side though? Like, and I believe we kind of talked a little bit about that when you came on my podcast, like a little bit about.
Well, you know that, right? So we've talked about that. So but what I've done, Paula, over the past like 6 months is that I've learned how to dig deep and really take a look at that dark side. And I said, you know what? That dark side's a part of me. I need to bring it out and learn how to balance it correctly without ever being afraid of me becoming someone else. You know what I mean? So now and it's funny, I was telling kids, I found the balance now. Like my light side, who I've always been, who was afraid of the dark side and suppressing, is now let my dark side come up to help me to be that strong, confident individual that I always am. But now it's just got an extra bit of a behind it. You know what I mean? And that bit of a right there is the stuff that is actually going to push me ahead the rest of my life. Because once again, it's like I was hiding it. I was pushing it down. I'm like, no, it's a part of who I am. Allow yourself to be that person, because you can still have control of what you want. You don't have to be very humble all the time. Just be who you are. And that's something that I've actually allowed. I've let the fucking tiger out of the cage, you know? And that tiger's a strong fucking motherfucker, you know? It's like, that's what I'm saying. You know?
I love it. And it's funny because I tell people, if you have a cocky side and a confident side, sometimes you gotta let them shine. You can't always be humble, because some people don't take that humbleness like, oh, they're always just humble. No, I'm cocky. I'm fucking confident. I got this shit. Right. And as you said, which is something true, you can't keep pushing that person down, because it's not gonna go away, but it's just gonna haunt you. Just like our feelings. That's why we talk about either journal them if you don't want to talk to a therapist, or talk to your friend, or tell the people who those feelings are meant to be. Then journal them, because once you let them out, you feel like a weight is lifted. But if you keep pushing them down, that's when one day you just blow the fuck up, and you're like, I don't know why I blew up. Well, because you were pushing all these damn feelings, and then you just come, or you end up breaking down in at the bank or something, and next thing you know, you're just falling down and crying, and you can't stop, because you are not allowing those tears to cry. Like, if you want to cry, baby, cry. It's okay to cry. It's actually healthy to cry. You know, so I love that you decided to let that person shine, because it is part of you. You just have to find balance and discipline on how to, when you allow them to shine, and when you allow them to just chill.
Right. And then that's going back to what you asked on how, you know, how to let people know how to value all that stuff. It's like, you know, you got to really allow yourself to feel and accept who you are. And once you do that, you can make the decisions on how you want to, you know, pivot, balance it, whatever you need to do, because you just can't keep suppressing certain things. Like you said, you know, you have to really figure out, look, I know this is who I am, you know, like that's why I said, if I ever had a dating app, right, I would call it the Honest app. And the reason why people, what is that? And I go, so first of all, you know, each person would have to, like how we are right now, you'd have to put out a video, because they see who you really look like. they see who you really are. And basically, like, let's say, and I always just say, I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm just a guy who just likes playing video games and just likes watching Netflix. I hate going out, and I just want to find someone like that. And there's probably a girl going, yeah, I like staying at home watching movies, and I don't like going out very much. Oh my God, this is the perfect guy for me, right? So it's the honest act, because you're really being honest about what you're wanting instead of just putting all this BS down on what people might think you might want from them. So it's like, yeah, I mountain climb, I hike, and all of a sudden you're like, you're a hiker, right? And all of a sudden they go, you're like, you don't really like hiking. I go, yeah, I fucking hate hiking. Then why'd you put it on your dossier then? Why is it in your bio? I don't know. I just figured it'd get me more hits. It's like, so now you're already lying to yourself. So the honest out would just be this thing of just people completely being honest about what they really want. And that's the easiest thing to do.
So is that a teaser that you're gonna end up doing the honest stuff, because we need them, and I like the video element because you can tell the body language. Even if somebody is trying to lie on something, you can sense the body language. You're like, the way you're talking and the way the body is going is giving me Nana vibes.
Yeah, and you can see, and that's true though. You can read their body language and their vibe, and quite frankly, you're getting the real person on the video. I mean, I'm sure you can maybe touch up a video a little bit, but you're not going to be able to really touch it up with the mannerisms and things like that. So I always feel like there should be a dating app to where it's like, you have a 30-second, when you're swiping right, you see 30 seconds of every person like that you're looking for versus a photo, and go from there.
I like that. Yeah. It's funny you brought that about hiking and stuff. I don't know if you watched that. I hate hiking too, and I tell people like, my activities are just a lot of activities, but not to hiking. And plus, I'm a black girl, and I've been hearing about going on hiking, or people go on dates on hiking, and people don't come. Even a dog was killed on hiking. I'm like, you can't even take your dog to hiking on a date, because there's some monsters who literally kill the dog. No hiking for me, baby. No, you're not taking me hiking.
I mean, it's like I'm on the tennis court. I do about 10 to 15 miles a day on my Fitbit. It's like, and I'll
lose you.
It may be. So that's out. Done.
Right? And here's the thing. So when you mentioned that, right? On this Love is Blind, this new season, I haven't watched the last 3 episodes, but I saw a clip where this guy was really mad at the guy because he went out for 1 hour. Like, they were hanging out together. And he even asked that, my boys are at this place, you want to come? She said no. He stayed for like 30 minutes and came back, because the direction of going and coming back, and he spent 30 minutes and came back. So he was out for 1 hour.
Okay.
And this guy made a whole fuss. You remember in the podium we were talking, you said you don't like going out, you don't go out. I'm like, just because somebody doesn't like going out doesn't mean they can't go out for 1 hour.
Right, exactly. Right. It's crazy.
He was like, okay, you're giving me crazy vibes, because if a guy can't even go out to have a beer for 30 minutes with his boys, and you were invited, mind you were invited and you declined. So it's not like he was doing anything fishy or whatever. I was like, okay, we need, when somebody says, I'm like, when somebody says they don't like going out or they don't go out, it's meaning like every night, every weekend, like they can go out once a week and for an hour too. But like going out, to me, I'm thinking like, you want to be clubbing every night until the morning, or every other day being out until the morning. That's what going out. But come on, for an hour, like,
that person's got issues already. She's already got issues, so that's already gonna bust.
There were so many red flags with this, and again, I haven't watched because this season was really like trash, and I like trash TV, but it was like to the point where like, okay, this is just annoying. But because the social media is always going to tell you what happened,
Right.
And I found that literally before the wedding, he didn't even take her to the altar. I was like, I just see so many red flags in this. I don't think we can go. She was very insecure, and that's why it's so important for us to really work on ourselves before you get into this relationship. Because however much you find and that's why I took some time out, because I really wanted to work on myself and dig deep down, which is something people don't want to do, because you learn shit about yourself you're not gonna like, and you have to fix it, and you have to unlearn the shit you actually know. But I was like, okay, I know myself also that I didn't want this relation. I wasn't going into this relationship with anything. But I know there's some relationships where I really want. I saw myself, I could see us together to that, and they didn't work. So I can't always blame the guys. I had to sit down and be like, what am I also doing? What is wrong?
Right. You're being accountable.
What do I need?
You're being accountable.
Yeah. And I digged in, and then I realized, okay, even though at that time I thought that was, but there were also these things which I knew we couldn't even have gotten as far as I thought in my head we would, and all the stuff. But and it became to a place where even the insecurities that I had, which were very few, because I'm the least insecure person, but we all have some insecurities.
Of course, and sometimes certain things get triggered that all of a sudden, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I feel a little insecure right about it. I get that. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. So I walked into them where I ended up being this very confident in my skin, in my insecurities, in what I want, in what I know I bring, and what I'm looking for. And where this is even when I go on a date and I already see, I'm like, I don't think me and you can be, so I don't want to waste. So even sometimes we're talking on the dating app, right? Okay. And I just see certain things, and they'll be like, so you wanna meet up Friday night for this? I'm like, I don't want to waste your time or mine, because I already see, like, with what you're talking already doesn't serve me. So why waste my time to get dressed up to come? But if I feel like there's a friendship possibility, because I'm also looking for, like, connections and stuff, I'll be honest. I'll be like, I don't see us whatever, but I would love to meet you if you want to just, see if we can connect on different on other level, and that's it. But because I did the work and I realized what I can offer and what can be offered for me, and what my insecurities are.
And that's the thing, though. But like you just said, and this is something I tell a lot of my dating clients. It's like, look, I go, when you're out on a date, I go, so many times people are focused on, wow, I hope he likes me. I hope she likes me. It's like, no, how about taking a seat back and going, what can you offer me? Here I am. This is who I am. Let's see how he or she performs in order to see if they're worthy for me. Not the opposite, because that's first form. That means you love yourself enough to sit there and go, I want to, I'm not putting on a show and pony dance for this person, which is also fine. It's because it is a give and take, you have to go both ways. But at the same time, most time you really need to take a step back and see, is this person really someone I want to be with?
So true. And if you're not happy with yourself, no guy or woman, no whatever is going to make you happy. So I also had to learn, because I used to be that guy who jumped from relationship to relationship. Even my friends these days are shocked that, you've been single for 4 years. You're the single one. Like, no, even my friend was the most single one. She's single. She's moved in with a guy. They're pregnant. And she's like, I can't believe you're still single. I'm like, I really wanted to take the time to just learn to be by myself, learn to make myself happy. Like, if I am happy in my own space by myself, then you as a guy, you really need to be extraordinary to come into my space. Like, because I'm not seeking for you to bring happiness to me. I already have that. I'm seeking for you to add to my happiness and add on to my peace, but not anything less.
Be an addition, right? Be an addition to your life. Complement your life. Be able to come into. And that's another term I use. Like, I always tell people, look, I go, someone's life is already in motion, right? Your job is just to complement their lifestyles, and hopefully you intertwine through that relationship is what we're doing, right? But every person's life is already doing this. It's already in motion. So our job is to find someone who complements the other person. Not some person just to shut us down, or the other person to kind of take over and like create chaos in their life. It's like, find someone that you're compatible with, that will take the journey with you. Be on the same path as you. Someone who's in your corner that wants you to win just as much as you want them to win.
That's so important. And I just say the reason why I'm also now like ready to just find my person, because I'm tired of being independent, y'all. Y'all independent women out there who still stick to being independent. Kudos for y'all. But I want to be taken care of. Like, I can take care of myself. I've already shown myself that I can take care of myself, but I'm ready to be loved on and be taken care of. And there's something about doing something with your partner, right? When you have a problem, you have your partner to talk with. When imagine, having to say, my man got this. Hey, boo.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to talk to my man.
I love that. Love that.
So,
Well, write it out, Paula. Write it out. Write out what you want from your next partner, and then let it come manifest it. Like you said, you're really good at just.
I'm putting it also on you and Kimmy, like y'all gotta do your jobs.
We'll take that challenge. Kimmy and I will double team up and take that challenge for you. So, Miss Charisma coaching and the dating intelligence, we'll take it.
I feel like between both of you, you know me enough, and you know who would be right for me enough. You can do the vetting for me and everything, like.
Yeah, totally.
And just deliver. And I say I'm willing to move to any state. It's a plus if they're in Nashville. I don't know about LA. I don't know if I can be an LA girl, but anything is possible depending on how our pockets together are gonna be. I can easily be an LA girl because LA girls be making you feel so broke as fuck. Like I'm already broke, but they make me feel double broke. Like
you're just like, what just happened here? It's LA's that's a thing of its own, man.
Every time I see your posts, your events and stuff, I'm like, being a man in LA must be tough because there are so many beautiful fucking, and I don't care if they've had their jobs done or whatever. Like, I'm a person, if you have the money and you want to do it for yourself, fix whatever fucking you want. Don't do it for men, don't do it for anybody. If you're doing it for yourself, by all means do it. I told my people, like, as soon as I have a child and I have the money, I'm lifting my boobs because wearing bras suck, and I just like my nipples popping out. Like, let them free. Like, who needs bras? So if you have the money and you want to do the job, do it. Fuck what everybody's saying. But LA has beautiful people, even the men sometimes. But I am constant because I watch you and I see how you're always around beautiful women. I'm like, if I was Chris's girlfriend or wife, I would, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's tough to be in that area and seeing your man. However secure I am, I'm just like.
I get that a lot from a lot of people. Trust me, they're like, if I was your.
And because you're charismatic, right? You're like a people's people, and people just radiate to you, especially women. They just radiate to you. Like, I met Chris at Podfest where he was surrounded with women, and I became one of the women who surrounded him and never left him. So that tells you something. Like, he just radiates women around him. So imagine, I'm just like, like your person is a trooper. Like kudos. She's
amazing.
And she's hot herself, and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes this has nothing to do about being insecure. It's just that my man is really around so many fucking beautiful women.
Well, I love that. I'm not gonna lie, I love it. So that's just.
Of course you do. I mean, you are, which I want to talk about this before we end, because you are a former runway model. So I mean, you are around that. And you were the meat for most of people. Like, imagine, I'm sorry,
objectivity.
Men on the runway, because I'm not looking at the clothes. No. I'm looking, especially when the clothes come like open shirts and shit. I'm not even looking at what the fuck you're wearing or who the designer is. I'm looking at the jobs and shit like, oh la la, okay, you're a good model. So how was it for you being the runway model and then ending up into a relationship coach and a tennis pro in the mix of it? How was that journey for you?
It just all, like, I felt like it was just it just all started just, it's the best way to sound like the best way to say it, it's like, it's just all a part of the complete package of who I am. It's like, I appreciate all the stuff I've done in my past. I've done a lot of things, and I'm very grateful for all the opportunities, but like you said, it's like, you got to keep moving forward, right? Figuring out there's always something that we all have that we ultimately should be doing and what we want to do. And I realized for me, like, even with modeling turned into, tennis and relationship coaching, it's like, I love helping people. I like helping, but I also like wearing the clothes, and I like being front and center. Like, I always like being front and center. I mean, that's the Leo in me, right? That's the Leo in me. You can't help it. So, but at the same time, it's like, I really do love people, and I love helping people. And that's why I'm in this space. And so, and it's like, when I see something that has to be fixed in a weird way, it's like, I want to be able to help in the process. I want to be able to give them my knowledge and to help, hopefully have them go off and to share it and to grow and to live happily, whatever they're doing as well. I always tell people, I go, it's like, I never want to say what if. in my life. You know, I wanted to make sure like, well, I've done that. I'm doing this now and just moving forward. And it's like, you know, and I think I'm finally settling into what I really, really love to do. And that's the relationship space, helping people and just helping people get better at dating or helping people in the relationships, whatever it may be. You know, like I said, the runway modeling, that was great. It's fun. And, you know, I'm obviously, you know, you miss that part of your life all the time, but this is why I still have, you know, like I said, my fun times with cycles of people that I hang around, things like that, you know, but once again, it's growth. Everything's about growing.
I love that. And just like how you say you don't ever want to be like, what if my mantra is fuck regrets, because I'm going to do it and we're not going to regret shit, because at the end of the day, I might say like, yo, that was wild, we did that, but fucking, we fucking did that, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Because as a tennis pro, like you're already like in a coaching world, right? Because so getting into relationship coaching kind of feels like the same thing. But do people always feel a little kind of like, how is this a formal runway model? Because runway models are known to be, you know, let me use a classy word, but dogs, men who just, you know, like runway. So imagine a person who you're like, he looks like you know, is a model, is a fuck boy and shit, but then you're a runway model and a relationship coach.
Yeah, right. Where's that, Dallas? How's that working out, right? Yeah. Well, the good news is, Paula, I get to help a lot of women find their space. That's the main thing. I get to share the secrets of how not the signs to look for when guys are doing something shitty and wrong. That's the beauty of it all. So, you know, I've had both sides of it. So it's like, and I know the error of my ways, but I also know like how to move forward and where I'm at with my life right now. And that's something that I can share with a lot of people. So it's life experiences.
That's why I would hire you, because I'm like, he's been a fuck boy. He knows fuck boys. He can dictate fuck boys. He can dictate bullshit. So why wouldn't I have such a coach to get me there?
I like how you label me, Paula. I love you too.
Well, I love you so much, and we're coming to the end. Thank you so much for hanging out with me.
You're welcome.
And just talking about knowing your work. Please let the people know where they can connect with you, where they can find your podcast. If you have any incredible shit that's coming up that you want to support, and leave an advice for those people who are having a hard time knowing their value and adding tax on that. Because don't forget, add tax to that value of yours, baby.
All right, guys, you know, like she has it down here. You can find me at Fetchboard on my social media and go to just go to dating-intelligence.com, dating-intelligence.com. You can find me. And if you want, just give me 15 minutes of your time you just kindly like make an appointment for 15 minutes and just let me know what you need some help with, and we can talk about it. If you think I'm a fit for you, great. If not, then, you know, I'll give you the best advice I can and hopefully you'll figure it out. But I am here to, like I said, just to help you, and you'd be surprised. All I need is 15 minutes and I can suss it all out. And you can be like, God damn, he knows everything about what I need to work on. That's what I do.
Love it.
Thanks,
Thank
Paula.
you so much.
I love you, honey.
Thank you for hanging with me. I love you too. Wait,
right.
did you forgot to leave the piece of advice for the folks out here?
Piece of advice, just, you know, like first and foremost, don't settle. That's the best thing I say. Never settle for anyone. You know, I'd rather you remember, you come first. If you don't feel like you come first and you're settling, then what are you really doing, right? You're just living someone else's life, and you're just living through vicariously through something else, and you're never going to be happy. So in order to be happy, just don't settle and be who you are. Live by your true authentic self.
In Chris's words as well, don't forget to check in with yourself every now
Thanks,
and then.
babe.
It is really important. So
Thank you.
Thank you all for hanging out with us on Shit Happens. Until next time on Shit Happens, which is tomorrow
Bye, guys.
at 11 a.m. Bye.
Bye.
Shit happens.
Thank you for tuning in to Shit Happens, an integral segment of the innovative platform Talk Shit with Pete. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to hit subscribe and leave a review. You can find Shit Happens on YouTube at Talk Shit with Pete. If this served, share with friends or family who can relate. Remember, we all face challenges, but it's how we push past them that defines us. So, until next time, keep pushing forward. And remember, shit may happen, but so does growth. And you got this.